Hello, everybody. Let's take a look at how to set up consistent groupings for your online Zoom classes. So here I have my grade 9 science class. Let's edit this. This is what you would see if you were starting or scheduling a meeting for the first time. So here we have all the settings. I'll just point out a few things as we go along. First of all, I've set my class to a recurring meeting at no fixed time so that I don't have to worry about scheduling specific times for this class. I just activate this meeting whenever I want to teach grade 9 science. Okay, let's continue down here. And when we get to the meeting options, there's an option here for breakout room pre-assign. So I have that selected, and now let's edit. So this lets me set up in advance the groups for my classroom. Now, in the pre-closure time, at my school, we had half of our class physically in class each day. So we had our two cohorts, groups A and B. And in each class, I had 4 groups. And so I had my groups labeled this way so that students would know which group they belong to. So I'll just finish that work of setting this up. So I created some new groups. Now I'm just going to relabel them group B2 to make group B3. I need to make group B4. Okay, now there is an option that allows you to add participants. So this would assign the names of your students to particular groups. The TDSB has not set this up properly. So I have found that only a small fraction of my students are able to be pre-assigned in this way. So I don't bother doing this anymore. I just set up the group names so that when it's time to run my breakout rooms, they're labeled properly and the students know what to do. So I'll save that. And now if I save that, all the settings for this meeting are good. So every time I run this Zoom meeting, I will have that selection of breakout rooms available for my students. Now, let's take a look at things from within the meeting. So we'll start off this meeting. Okay, so I've just started up my class, and let's take a look right away at the Zoom settings. So, first of all, for the breakout rooms. So you can see I have the selection of breakout groups all set up. So it just saves me a little bit of time when I get to this point in the class. Now I'm going to check some of my options because this is important. I want to allow participants to choose the breakout room to go to. So I've made that selection there. And what I've also done is with my students, when I first start using the breakout rooms in Zoom, I show the students their class list here and their groups. And we stick with these groups for roughly 1 unit at a time in the course. So I want students to consistently, so every class, go into the same breakout rooms. So the students will get in the habit of knowing, okay, I'm in group A3. This is my role for today. So that when it comes time for the Zoom meeting, and we open up all those rooms, the button will appear for your students. So they'll select breakout rooms, and then they'll have this list of rooms to select. So they'll just go to group A3, for example, click join, and then they found their appropriate group. Now, there are some versions of Zoom where that feature is not available to students, being able to select your own breakout room. Last time I did it, roughly half of my students had this difficulty. So if you ask your students to update to the latest version, then that won't be a problem. But if for whatever reason they can't get into their breakout room, I just ask them to type into the chat and enter their group number. And I'll see the note from that student, group A2, and so I have to take that name and assign it into that group. So that's just a handy little trick there to help with that process. So this is my preferred way for running groups online. I like the students to have consistent groups in class and out, and to stick with those groupings for roughly 3 weeks or 1 unit of study at a time. So I hope you found this trick helpful.